wonderful rendition. The music arm of Mountain Top University is an integral arm of the school, simply because we do have a visitor who is passionate about music, and we are all benefiting immensely from his largesse. Give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. When we started the program, I told you that today MTU Next caught a big fish. We thought I'm exaggerating. You can see the atmosphere. It is electrifying. Per minute, per second, new visitors are coming in to celebrate with us. Another round of applause. Thank you very much. Now, in the course of the music, a number of people join us, and we need to recognize their presence. First is the gentle wife of our Vice Chancellor, delectable Dr. Mrs. Ayolabi. A round of applause. Dr. Ayolabi. Okay, thank you. We also recognize the presence of a representative of the Vice Chancellor of Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Professor Mrs. Morenike Dibelu. You are welcome, ma'am. We are happy to have you in our midst. Also is the Deputy Vice Chancellor and also representing Crawford University, Professor Patrick Yaloku. Professor Patrick, you are welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Gathering of who is who today. Now, we also have some people who are actually very much part of us. They are in our vicinity and they really identify with us, and we are really proud to have them in our midst. First of all is the chairman of FADA, Mokoloki SCDA, Alaja Kudirat Balogun. Where is she? Alaja Balogun. Thank you, ma'am. Yes. Also the secretary to the local government of SCDA, Mr. Olawale Kazeem. You are welcome, sir. Thank you. And the councillor of Magboro, Stroke Arepo Ward, Honorable Ganiu Ayodeji. Sir, an honorable, please recognize his presence. It's not easy to be an honorable, you know. Also, we have the councillor of Ibabo Ward in the person of no other person but Honorable Akim Quadri. Honorable Akim Quadri. Before we move to the next item, we still have some other people we must recognize their presence. First of all, we have the Mountain Top University Insurance Broker, Pastor Adebayo Simon. Yeah, thank you, sir. The MD of African Alliance Assurance. The MD of African Alliance Assurance, please, let's recognize you. Thank you. Also the MD of WEM Insurance PLC. And we also have the MD of Regency Alliance Insurance PLC. If you are around, please stand up for recognition. It's like the insurance people, they don't want us to know them. They are hiding their identities. Then we have the MD of Law Union and Rock. See present, please. MD of Law Union and Rock Insurance. Thank you. And representative of Custodian and Allied Insurance PLC. Thank you. Now, the moment we are waiting for. We want to invite our distinguished lecturer, but before he comes, to usher him into the podium is a member of staff of Mountain Top University, an academic member of staff, Dr. Akiyemi Akiruba. You are welcome, sir.
Distinguished Chairman of the occasion and Vice Chancellor of University of Ibadan, Professor Abel Idowu Olayinka, the Vice Chancellor of Mountain Top University, Professor Elijah Adebowale Ayolabi, all invited Vice Chancellors of our sister universities here present, all principal officers of the Mountain Top University, all academic and non-academic staff of the Mountain Top University, all Assistant General Overseers of the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries, gentlemen and ladies of the press, our dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and privilege to introduce our distinguished lecturer, Professor Peter Akinshola Okebukola, DSc, PhD, OFR. Can you stand here, please? Can we stand up and give him an ovation as he takes the microphone? You may sit down. You may sit down. Akinshola Okebukola is the former Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission and is currently the Director of UNESCO Institute for African Culture.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Great event. Professor Abel. Olayinka Idowu, Professor Abel Idowu Olayinka, the Vice Chancellor of Nigeria's premier university, the Vice Chancellor of Mountain Top University, Professor Elijah Ayolabi, other Vice Chancellors who are here in person and represented, principal officers of this great university, very distinguished persons who are here, MTU. I used to have a friend who used to ride a Beetle car, Beetle. He got a sticker at the back of it. It's written, when I grew up, you know, Volkswagen Beetle car. When I grew up, I'm going to become a Mercedes-Benz. So when I grow up, I'm going to be a student of Mountain Top University. What shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. All I have to say is thank you, Lord. There was a song that the group rendered not so long ago. It's a song I love so much. And the refrain is, great is thy faithfulness. I like us to sing it all. I like all of us to sing it together. Faithfulness, no need to stand. You can sit down. Mercies I see, all I have needed, thy hand provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. There'll be a slight adjustment to the program here. You know, being a lecture, at the end of the lecture, we do not have two things. We do not have a question and answer session, which is typical of a distinguished lecture like this, but I sought the permission of the Vice Chancellor to make a slight variation here. We're going to have a 5-minute session that will be question and answer. So when the lecture has been delivered, we will allow you to ask a few questions. There's another variation that I've sought permission from the Vice Chancellor to insert, and that is, at the end of the lecture, I want to find out how well the MTU students, especially, because I'm told that of the 153 universities that we have in Nigeria today, the best is Mountain Top University. So I want to be able to find out whether or not you are really the best. So there's going to be a test at the end of this lecture. And there are two colleges here. We have the College of Basic and Applied Sciences, and we have the College of Humanities, Management, and Social Sciences. So I'm going to see which of the two colleges has the best students in this university. MTU. So are you ready for my test at the end of this lecture? Very good, very good. Now, I'm so honored, to have as chair for today somebody who is exceedingly busy, the Vice Chancellor of Nigeria's premier university, Professor Abel Idowu-Olayinka. And you can see that seated over there are three great people. Abraham is the father of faith, and through him God gave his promise of a son through the line of David that will be the savior of the world. So I have Abel here as chair of this occasion. I also have somebody who God used tremendously as a prophet, Elijah. Elijah was quite unique, and I enjoy reading the story of Elijah in Samuel and Kings. When he encountered the bad king, Ahab was quite nice at the start of his reign, and later, decided to worship other idols, and a great God is jealous. So send Elijah to Ahab, turn from your ways, stop worshiping Baal. Ahab, of course, did not listen. And Elijah then said, 3 years old, God will show you that He's God. There was no rain, there was famine. Of course, Elijah got good treatment from God. He went to the wilderness. And ravens are birds that are very, very protective of their food. The ravens brought food to Elijah, brought honey, brought meat, and Elijah lived there. After the river got dry, Elijah was then asked to go meet this woman who had very little bit of food left. And to contract a very long story, at the end of the battle, or the contest between God and the other gods, Baal, God won, and there was rain abundant. So this Elijah that we have here, Elijah Ayolabi, is going to bring rain of blessings to this university. And I also like your last name, Ayolabi, your joy. You're going to bring a lot of joy to this university. So we're delighted that we have them as the pioneer Vice Chancellor of this university. I've met him in a number of international events, and I feel very proud of him as a Vice Chancellor from a Nigerian university. We also have a Vice Chancellor of Caleb University here, Professor Ayodiji Aino. He has a name called Daniel. Daniel, as you know, is another great name. You can see how lucky I am today with all these great people. Daniel, one of the Hebrew children that was, when Jerusalem fell, these Hebrew children had to be like refugees in Babylon. And you know the story of Daniel. Daniel and the lions. I kept asking about the lions, but he conquered the lions. And the prediction that there will be a Messiah. If you read Daniel very well, very prophetic. There will be a Messiah. There will be the Savior of the world. And my prayer is that we all will be part of the marriage supper of the Lamb. That when the roll is called up yonder, we'll all be there. So I thank you all for being here. I thank the Vice Chancellor for the invitation. I'm going to gallop very quickly through this lecture. And the overall idea is for us for me to share a few thoughts with you on more investment, more harvest. The chairman of the event has said it all. He has told us that without funding investment, it can never happen the way we anticipate that it will happen. The Vice Chancellor asked that I should propose a title some 3 weeks ago, and since he asked me to propose a title, I keep hearing people all over, commentaries in radio and TV programs, newspapers, that these Nigerian universities, you are in quotes now very useless. We have power challenge. We have challenge with regard to our roads. We have challenge with regard to security, kidnapping, Boko Haram, all of this. And you people just sit there in your ivory tower, not showing any concern, not helping to solve the problems of society. So then occurred to me that, that may not be true. That may be the half-truth. You know the Trump saying there's a truth and the alternative truth. And that will be the alternative truth. The truth is that good things are happening in our universities. And so I decided to conduct a study which I'm going to report here. The conclusion of my lecture today is that our universities, based on the level of resources that they are getting, are delivering very well. And that if we hike or bolster or increase the level of resources to our universities, we will get better dividends in terms of social responsibility and social reliance. So that's the long and short of the story. So I'll be reporting a study, and I'll be letting you see comparisons with other university systems all over the world. We're looking at the US, we're looking at Europe, we're looking at Asia, and all the others. So I'm happy to deliver this third in the series. I think it will take about 30 minutes or so for me to share my thoughts with you on what I've summarized. At takeoff of this university, I met with a visitor, and I predicted that within 10 years of the establishment of this university, it will rise to the top of the league table of universities in Nigeria. Now, what gave me that confidence? I hid my forecast on the mighty power of God. You know, when our Lord Jesus Christ was going up to heavens on the Mount of Olives, Matthew 25:18, he said, all the powers in heaven and on earth are where? In his pocket. So what else can he not do? So I know that the great God of heaven that is served in this university will make it happen. So right before our very eyes, we can see the realization of this dream. For this march to the top, we give him all the glory. Now the visionary and founder of Mountaintop University, Dr. Daniel Kolawole Olukoya, who God inspired to add this glorious university to the higher education space in Nigeria as an evangelistic arm of the Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries. To win the youth for Christ deserves our appreciation. May the great God of heaven continue to make him reap rich harvest of the seed of the kingdom of heaven, which he has been planting in the hearts of persons across the world through MFM. We appreciate the pioneering efforts of the top level management of this university, especially the Board of Trustees, Council, the Vice Chancellor, and other principal officers, not leaving out the Senate of the University. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. I'm quoting 1 Corinthians 15:58, King James Version. I already mentioned that the Vice Chancellor asked me to speak on any topic of my choice, and I have given you the antecedents to my choice of topic. So let's move quickly to the heart or the kernel of this lecture. We are talking about social relevance or social responsibility. I'm delighted that the officials of the local LCDA are here. So the question to ask, we have Mountain Top University. How is this university showing relevance? How are the students of this university or the staff of this university or the entire university community showing relevance to the immediate community that you are in, to Lagos State, to Nigeria, and to the rest of the world? How are you showing relevance? How are you showing relevance to Prayer City, to MFL? How are you showing relevance? These are questions that we will want to dig deeper into or provide answers to in this lecture. Because the expectation is for you as a university, for you as a worker in the university, for you as a student in the university, to show some relevance to the community in which you are based. So social relevance or social responsibility I'm defining as a measure of how well an individual or an organization is able to contribute to societal development. Let's take a lecturer in a university who has benefited from contributions from peasant farmers in his village for the tuition for his degree. And after getting his degree, this person now supports the villagers to pull them out of poverty. That person is demonstrating a good measure of social relevance. So also is a university like ours, FTU, in an urban area. If you provide solutions, for instance, to traffic congestion, to waste management, and you provide models of good governance to the local government where you are located, you are said to be socially relevant or socially responsible. Now, the human species is a social being. He or she lives in a network of relationships and interdependencies. Our society contributes to our well-being. In turn, we are ethically demanded to give back to the society in equal or better measure to be socially relevant. That the actions of an individual should benefit the whole of society as part of our civic duty and a reflection of the spirit of giving back. Now, what does the Nigerian society expect of us, expect of the 153 universities? Now, in the last 1 year, as I stated earlier, I've documented public commentaries on what the common man or woman, that's the citizenry in Nigeria, will want our universities to do to be regarded as socially relevant. How University of Ibadan can be socially relevant. How Caleb University, Landmark University, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Covenant University, University of Lagos, Professor Oguleye, I can see you over there, Crawford University, Best University of Technology, So what is the Nigerian society expecting of us so that they can give us respectable score on the social relevance scale? Now to the to-do list from Nigerians to us in the university can be summarized to be everything. They want us to do everything, short of creating human beings. They want Nigerian universities to provide sustainable solutions to the Boko Haram insurgency. They want Nigerian universities to provide solutions to how we can calm ethnic agitations, how we can solve the intractable power challenge, how we can solve the herdsmen farmers clashes, how we can tame corruption, how we can break the cycle of poverty, how we can solve youth unemployment, how we can tackle challenges in the health sector, and how we can ensure food security. Ladies and gentlemen, these are very genuine expectations as Nigerians see that in other countries of the world, universities play major roles in offering solutions to this and other problems. So why is it different here? Now this is a question that we are going to be asking, that people along the streets everywhere will be asking us. Now, let me identify some variables that have been implicated in the social relevance equation of universities. Now, what are those factors that can lead to improvement or a regression or lowering of the measure or the score of social relevance of universities? The literature on this is quite huge, and indeed we have published every year an organization that I serve as president, UNESCO Global University Network for Innovation, the Africa Regional Chapter that I serve as president. Every year we publish what we call the State of Higher Education Report. That report documents happenings in higher education all over the world. The interesting thing is that for this year, 2017, our report is based on social responsibilities of universities globally. And I've been able to pick some of the variables from that report. I contributed the Africa chapter of the report. So let's look at a couple of these variables which we used in the study. There are 8 of them, and we used 7 in the study, which I will summarize very shortly. The first one, and not in any order, is the budget. The size of the annual budget of the university for teaching, for research, and for community engagement. This factor has a potentially direct or indirect impact on the quality and quantity of output, which in turn can impact the quality and quantity of social relevance delivered by the university. Our chairman, Professor Abel Iwolayinka, made ample mention of this in his opening remarks. In other words, if you have good budget, you are able to improve your research, you are able to improve your teaching, your community engagement will benefit more, and when you add up all of this, you do a sigma of them, you find that social relevance is likely to be enhanced. The second is political and social network potential of the leadership of the university. Well-connected leadership can stretch the wings of the university to connect with wider elements in the community. If you have a vice chancellor who is well-connected politically, socially, he can help to muster resources, partnerships for the university. If you have the chairman of council, or council members, or students, and all of this, so they will help to, that's another variable. The third is the age of the university. As I go along to share the findings of the study, you find that this variable plays a very important role. Older universities tend to have deeper and more extensive social roots which stretch the reach of their social relevance. The fourth is the alumni. In a little while, FTU students will be having their first graduation. When is that happening, Vice Chancellor? Vice Chancellor, sir? 2019. The class of 2019, please stand up. Class of 2019, those who will be graduating in 2019. Congratulations. So you'll be the first batch of alumni. Please sit down. You'll be the first batch of alumni for this university, alumni for this university. And the size of the alumni, the size and stature of the alumni are important elements in the scope to which social relevance of the university can be extended. Alumni are the ambassadors and the foot soldiers for ensuring foundation, the Rock of Carnegie and all of that. They are exemplars of what generally happens in the Western societies. So you're talking about social responsibility. Many of the elements in our society are not do not want to move in that direction for some social cultural reasons. So let me now share with you the study that we conducted. Now, we decided to look at the top 10 universities in the world, the latest ranking by Times Higher Education. By the way, I happen to be part of the 3 most recognized global ranking schemes of universities: the Times Higher, the Webometrics ranking, and the academic ranking of world universities, the 3 of them. I'm part. I represent Africa on those 3 planets. And then when you list, if you just took one of them, the Times Higher, you list the top 10 universities in the world as at the last outing, I'll be sharing with you, because they incidentally had very high scores on social relevance, social responsibility. I will then take the top 10 in Africa, and what we then did was take the top 10 globally, take the top 10 from Africa, and then I surveyed vice chancellors from Nigerian universities, and I'm glad that 3 of the vice chancellors or their representatives, 5 of the vice chancellors or their representatives who are here participated in this study. I use this student analysis to get this to happen too. Then we took on the second one. The second one is to run what we call multiple regression analysis. What multiple regression does is to be able to predict a variable from a set of predictors. You have, my dear students, note that you're going to have a test at the end of this, so keep listening. We had 7 variables as predictors of what we call the estimate of social responsibility, or estimate of social relevance. And the predictors were entered into that multiple regression equation. So as I said, what it does is to be able to forecast, multiple regression forecasts the future. For instance, if I get to know your UTME score, your post-UTME score, and several other variables that are relevant to your academic performance, I can predict what your CGPA is at the end of the course, the marginal error. So what we did was to put all of this, as I said, into a regression equation, and we found as follows that the 7 variables that we entered are very good predictors of the estimate of social relevance. Indeed, the contribution or the predictors to estimate of social relevance was 97. Some tables, one of which is a table which will show the predictability or the quality of the model. And what we call our first table is a summary of another table shows with an F of 2, 2, 3, or 3 to be a very, very good model. And then we looked at the between subjects test. Between subjects test will be looking at the relationship between each of these predictors and what we are predicting. We are predicting the estimate of social relevance. And we found that to be also quite respectable. Saving you the stress of the statistical analysis, and then go on to pick one of the variables that came out quite strong. You know, we had budget, we had age of the institution, we had alumni, we had capacity of staff, capacity of students, and the rest. We found that the budget variable turned out to be one of the most potent, and it showed a strong link between the budget of the university and the quantum of social responsibility that's able to deliver. And we followed up with what we call the maximum likelihood estimate, and made some computations for Nigeria, for Africa, for Asia, for the US, and for Europe. And the model held true for each of these groups. That is, you see the narrow gap between quantum of funds into the system and the level of social responsibility. Showing, very, very, very remarkable linkage. And then if you look at the graph which we have on figure 2, you see that the US has come up really, really strong on these two measures. And you find Europe is next, Asia is next, Africa not performing so well, and Nigeria coming up to be the least. Now let's look at the matter of budget. I'm going to take the example of one of the universities, a university that has almost consistently, over the last 10 years, been at top of the pack in the ranking at university. Now the value of endowment alone, of Harvard University as of June of last year, maybe I need to ask the Vice Chancellor of University of Ibadan what the size of your endowment is. Maybe I don't need to ask. I want you to know that it's nothing too exciting, because you mentioned just now that the amount of money that is needed to send, just to send university staff on overseas training and some local training came about 2.something billion. And when you aggregate all the monies that you're able to get from Ghana, it is about 100 million. So Harvard alone, Harvard University, one university that has a population of just about half the population of Ibadan, has an endowment of $34.7 billion US. That's like the budget of Nigeria for so many years. Is the budget of all the 153 universities in Nigeria for the next 10 or more years. That is one university. So the budget thing has come out quite strong, and I've provided the 2016, that's the latest that we're able to publish from Harvard, the latest budget for that year and the distribution figure 4. Now let's look at the age of the university. Established 69 years ago. 69 years ago. So we want to compare ourselves with Harvard, that is number 1, that has about $37 billion endowment, that was established, wait for it, in the year 1636. That university is 381 years old. I'm sure that when NTU is 381 years old, it will be 50 times better than Harvard. Not so? Very good. Now, talking, I'm combining the age of the university and the alumni. I'm using as an index of the alumni quality the number of Nobel Prize winners that that university is able to have. The Nobel Prize is won by persons or group of persons that have contributed most significantly to development in physics, in chemistry, for peace, for literature, for economic sciences, and let me see, I think those are the major ones. But for the ones that are used for ranking purposes, the ones for peace, not taken to be academic, but ones for literature and the rest, yes, taken to be academic. Who can tell me how many universities in Nigeria, how many of the 153 universities in Nigeria has a staff or alumnus that has won a Nobel Prize? Yes, anybody in any of the colleges, the tests have started. Just stand up and shout whether you know or not. You don't know. Chairman, can you tell us, sir? Our chairman knows that, you see, even in ascribing Professor Wole Soyinka for the basis of ranking, some of the ranking schemes will not put him into any of our universities, because Professor Wole Soyinka is ascribed to an American university, and I think he started from Ibadan. There's some little issue regarding that, but what I put in this table is I put Wole Soyinka as part of the Ibadan group. So Harvard University, ladies and gentlemen, one university, Harvard, has 47 Nobel Prize winners. 47. Take Stanford University. Stanford University was established 1885, 132 years ago. It has 27 Nobel Prize winners. Let me take University of Cambridge. University of Cambridge was established 808 years ago. Can you guess how many Nobel Prize winners it has? 91 university. Every corner you turn in Cambridge University, you find a Nobel Prize winner. Let me take MIT. MIT, I happen to have trained at MIT. Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Cambridge in the US was established in 1861. Since 1861, that university has not had more than a population of 15,000. Just 15,000 students at MIT. MIT has 78 Nobel Prize winners. And then let me take the last one that I'm going to read, but I have several in the table. That's University of Chicago, established 127 years ago. It has 89 Nobel Prize winners. Now let me now share quickly with you what we have for Africa. The number one university in Africa is the University of Cape Town. University of Cape Town, ladies and gentlemen, was established 188 years ago. I'm spending a little time on this segment of my lecture to let you know, to let Nigerians know that, we are like toddlers within the global university community. We are like little children. So don't expect that we are going to work magic. Don't expect that without a lot of investment into, a lot of resources into the universities, we can work wonders. University of Cape Town, 188 years ago, it has 5 Nobel Prize winners. So you can see a huge drop in the quality, in the age of the university, and also the quality of alumni, indexed by the number of Nobel Prize winners. Wits, University of Wits, Witwatersrand, pronounced WITS, was established 121 years ago. It has 4 Nobel Prize winners. Stellenbosch, none. Makerere, none. 1. KwaZulu-Natal, none. Now we come to Cairo University, 3. University of Marrakech, nil. And our University of Ibadan was established in 1948. Just like a few seconds ago, compared with all the others. It has 1. I've just put that one in quotes. So, Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, what are the impediments? What are the impediments to our universities not showing greater social relevance as the man and woman out there in Nigeria will expect us to have? I've identified a few of these, and I've mentioned them during the course of this lecture. One is the relatively low investment in university education. While I was Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, and the Commission took responsibility for funding all federal universities. So, by the time I finished giving University of Ibadan the money to pay salaries, almost nothing left. Nothing left. In the same breath, government will say, oh, don't charge tuition. The vice chancellors will come to me, the pro-chancellors will come to me, we'll go to government and we'll say, look, let us, since you are not able to carry this funding burden, why don't you allow the universities to just charge a token? Say, no, don't charge anything. So if the university needed like 100 million naira to run it in a year, the university was getting in total about 30 million naira. So there's a huge gap. I'm using that proportionate analogy. So the chairman mentioned to us the kind of challenge that we're facing. So there's very low investment in university education in Nigeria, and in the same breath, the people out there, the town, if we're the town is expecting us to work magic. No magic, ladies and gentlemen, can ever happen. The other is weak public confidence in the social relevance of Nigerian universities. What good can come out of Israel is what many people say. Okay, universities, you bring a proposal about it, they say you are not good enough to be able to address the challenge. Now, this is very preponderant among the elite group. Good enough, the elite group is small.